All right, what up, what up, what up? It's your boy Austin coming back. Fuck that one up. It's your boy Austin coming back at you from Busted Trap Studios. This is episode 28 of Unfiltered Banter. Again, it's another solo ep. So we're going to keep on. We're going to hit it. Probably in and out real quick. Thanks for sticking with us and staying tuned. Kind of jump right into college football because that's where we kind of hold on for bowl games. The last few happened over the weekend. So to recap, when I was with you last, would have been Saturday. Georgia was playing Florida State, and Georgia ended up winning 63-3. Just fucking dog walked them. And then you'll kind of see some foresight into the next game, the Michigan Alabama game, because to be honest with you, Michigan beat Alabama, and Alabama did not look good. There were some issues. Alabama had the chance to win and decided to try to run it up the middle with no time left in overtime. It didn't really make a lot of sense to me. So, yeah, we'll jump into the games that happened Monday. Happy New Year to everybody. On Monday, your first game was LSU, Wisconsin. LSU ended up winning 35-31. That was a closer game than I definitely would have thought. Oregon played Liberty in the Fiesta Bowl, won 45-6. Liberty should have never been there. They should have picked somebody else, but automatic bowl bids and schedule and all that shit. You know how that goes. Tennessee and Iowa, we looked kind of iffy at times, but our defense kind of held strong. Their offense isn't great. Their defense is better than most. Our former partner in this podcast, Logan, said, "Oh, it's just Iowa. Don't make a big deal." But Iowa's in the Big Ten championship. Granted, they're on the weaker side of the Big Ten, and Michigan plays the harder opponent. The people, typically the one on the left, the other side, play the harder opponents. But they were still 10-2. I mean, they came into it. No one took anything lightly. We were 6-point favorites, and we ended up winning by 35. We held them to nothing. They got close at one point and threw an interception. So, I looked well. Nico's first start looked good. He had 3 rushing touchdowns. Didn't look too crazy from the air, but they ran the ball. Sampson looked well. We had a lot of backups in because we were playing with mostly backups, so might as well let them get their time. It's a free game to get them their time. But Nico looked good. He definitely can move, which is something exciting. He doesn't throw it away at all, but Hendon didn't really do that either, which I find is a problem because I think you shouldn't just take the sack or try to run around to get yourself hurt. Step out of the pocket, find somebody close, and just sling it over their head, throw it out of bounds. Joe did that, but he did it just over their head, through the back of the end zone or wherever it may be. But I'm excited. I do know that news on them today. Gerald Mincey entered the transfer portal. We did not get Stewart from Texas A&M. So right now, I think we're just holding strong. I know that some of our guys that are coming up from the Under Armour All-American game showed out in the Under Armour All-American game. So I'm very excited about that and ready to get those guys. I know we had a wide receiver and I want to say a defensive end, which is always good. We got to strengthen our defense, really our secondary in my opinion, but we'll see what happens after the offseason. Obviously, like I said, the Michigan-Alabama game, Michigan won 27-20, and then Washington beat Texas 37-31. So it was a close game in the Washington-Texas game. Texas pulled it in closer at the end, and then obviously kind of lost it in the final seconds. Washington, they look better. They play Monday, which the next podcast I'll go over that. They play Monday, which I'm pretty excited for. I don't really have a person I want to win. It looks like they've got Michigan. It's 4.5-point favorites. I feel like Washington probably played their stronger strength of schedule because they had, I would assume, more ranked teams in their lineup because I think Michigan only ended up playing one ranked team, Ohio State, and then they played Alabama. So Michigan kind of gets away with that every year. So that's kind of it for college football right now. There's basically just a bunch of people entering the draft, a bunch of guys entering the transfer portal. Ole Miss's running-back, Judkins, decided to enter the portal. Kool-Aid McKinstry entered the draft. nothing real major going on. Nothing that I can see that's like noteworthy. The headlines. Um, it looks like DJ Uiagalelei uh, transferred to Florida State. So there's still some of there on some other people. Obviously, we've got KJ Jefferson transferred to UCF, which I didn't know he was transferring. Makes sense though. Quarterback that was pretty good for Utah this year, Nate Johnson transferred from Utah to Vanderbilt. So, and then Kyle McCord, I did not know he was going to Syracuse. That's interesting. But who really knows why they do what they do? Nothing too outrageous. I mean, it's all kind of basic stuff. People leaving from one big school to go to another big school, or leaving from a big school to go to a smaller, crappier school. Jump into the NFL. We had some pretty good games in the NFL this week, or this past weekend. Saturday, before I recorded the pod and released it, the Cowboys played the Lions that night. And it was a really close game. The Cowboys looked good, and the Lions looked good, and the Cowboys didn't look good. And it's kind of back and forth. It ended up being Cowboys 20, Lions 19. The Lions had the chance to win, but had a mishap with the refs, and apparently did not declare himself. One of them did not declare himself eligible to the referees. But there's a lot of scrutiny coming back on that, saying that he walked up with Jared Goff to the referee to tell him that he was eligible to, catch a pass. And he ended up catching it right in the end zone, but they called it back for an eligible receiver downfield, drew him back, and they just couldn't do anything. The Cowboys shut them down. Then on Sunday, Patriots played the Bills. The Bills won 27-21. The Texans beat the Titans 26-3. The Ravens beat the Dolphins 56-19. The Ravens looked really good. Lamar had this drop back where he dropped back left, like he was going to throw it with his left hand, and then dropped a dot to Zay Flowers, which was immaculate. The Bears beat the Falcons 37-17. Justin Fields making his case to stay as the starter there. DJ Moore's come out on his behalf and says he wants him there. The Colts beat the Raiders 23-20. The Jaguars beat the Panthers 26-0, and I'm pretty sure that the Jaguars played without Trevor Lawrence, which I think is the first time he's not played in his career. The Rams beat the Giants 26-25. I clicked this game on. It was like a minute left. The Giants were driving. They were in field goal range, and then I had to go do something, and I come back, and it's over, and the Rams won. And I'm just like, what the hell happened? Like, what? So that's where we are there. The Rams are playoff eligible. The Cardinals beat the Eagles, another game I turned on late, or it got turned on late. And the Eagles just couldn't pull it out. They said that it's come out this week that there's a lot of like bad juju in that locker room, and AJ Brown's the start of it, which may make sense on why Tennessee got rid of him, because maybe he was a bad egg in this locker room. Granted, we could have used him at points, but who knows what the Titans decide to do. The Saints beat the Buccaneers 23-13. No one really cares. 49ers beat the Commanders 27-10. They kept that close. The 49ers have kind of played to their mediocre teams that have been below them. The Steelers beat the Seahawks 30-23. The Chiefs pulled it out against the Bengals 25-17. The Broncos beat the Chargers 16-9, and then the Packers beat the Vikings 33-10. The Packers-Viking game ended up being okay game. The Packers look good sometimes and look bad at others, so it's really odd. Check your standings. Looks like your AFC is going to be Baltimore Ravens, Miami Dolphins, Kansas City Chiefs, and then the Jaguars are still in contention to maybe lose the AFC South, depending on what Indy does or Houston does. It says here that Jacksonville Jaguars wins the tiebreaker over Indianapolis and Houston based on a head-to-head win percentage. But it says Indy wins tiebreak over Pittsburgh based on head-to-head win percentage. Division tiebreak was initially used to eliminate Houston. Indianapolis wins tiebreak over Houston based on head-to-head win percentage. And then Houston wins tiebreak over Pittsburgh based on head-to-head win percentage. So Pittsburgh's 9 looking in. In the NFC, looks like you've got the San Francisco 49ers, the Dallas Cowboys, the Detroit Lions, and then the Eagles have already clinched their spot. The Rams have already clinched their spot. So we're trying to wait to fill that up. The Buccaneers, they did lose to the Saints. They're 8-8. The Saints are 8-8. It says basically the Tampa Bay can lose. It says wins tiebreak over New Orleans based on best win percentage in common games. So it's one of those things. The Falcons are still in it. The Vikings are still in it. The Saints are still in it. The Seahawks are still in it. The Packers are still in it, which is weird. Really weird for some reason. But yeah, a lot of teams clinched. In the East, or in the AFC, like I said, the Bills are still not, they've not clinched. The AFC looks like clinched already is Baltimore, Miami, Kansas City, Cleveland, and then the rest is kind of a toss-up to see who goes where. So a lot of those teams want that home field, but you better start playing better, I guess. Things to look at: Christian McCaffrey on your complete rushing leaders. Looks like he tapped out. Tyreek's house got caught on fire yesterday, so I hope everything's well there. He did not end up catching the record. He would have to have like a crazy last game. So maybe he's healthy and can go for like 180, which is what he would need to break it. But I'd say if he plays, he'll finish second all time, which is outrageous to think about. Everything right now is just looking ahead for the draft. Dalvin Cook joins the Ravens after passing through waivers. Right now, the biggest debate is on who wins comeback player of the year. Is it Damar Hamlin for almost dying, or is it Joe Flacco for bringing back the Browns? I think it's probably Joe Flacco, because I don't know that Damar has played a lot this year or done anything to improve his team. Yes, he did come back from almost dying, but there's still a big difference. The Pro Bowl roster is being released sort of kinda. It's not like, it says complete roster revealed, but I'm assuming there'll still be some leak-ins. It looks like Tua, Lamar, and Patrick Mahomes, because it says here, it says the NFL announced on Wednesday the complete rosters for the 2024 Pro Bowl games, a week-long celebration of player skills featuring an exciting new format that spotlights flag football. 8 NFL teams are sending at least 5 players to Orlando, where flag football game will be played Feb 4th at Camping World Stadium, led by the league-leading San Francisco 49ers, who boost 9 Pro Bowlers, 8 starters: quarterback Brock Purdy, running back Christian McCaffrey, fullback Kyle Juszczyk, George Kittle, offensive tackle Trent Williams, defensive end Nick Bosa, defensive lineman Javon Hargrave, linebacker Fred Warner, quarterback Xavier Ward. The Baltimore Ravens had 7, Cowboys had 7, Miami Dolphins had 6, Eagles had 6, Browns had 5, Chiefs had 5, and the Lions had 5. And there are other teams with at least 5 Pro Bowlers. Are the other teams with at least 5 Pro Bowlers? So it looks like your quarterbacks are Tua, Lamar, Patrick. Your running backs are Raheem Mostert, James Cook, Derrick Henry, which I don't know how Derrick made it, because he looked bad all season, in my opinion. Obviously, your receivers are Tyreek Hill, Amari Cooper, Keenan Allen, Jamar Chase. Kind of agree with all those. Travis Kelce and Njoku, I agree with both of those. And Njoku looks really good. If the Chiefs are in the playoffs, Travis Kelce probably won't play, so Njoku will be one. They'll move somebody else there. Your tackles are Laramie Tunsil, Deion Dawkins, Teron Armstead, Quentin Nelson made it, Joey Paterno, Joe Thuney, Creed Humphrey, and Linderbaum are your centers. On your defense, you've got Myles Garrett, Max Crosby, Trey Hendrickson. Interior lineman, Chris Jones, Quentin Williams, Justin Matabuki. Your outside linebackers, TJ Watt, Khalil Mack, Josh Allen, Roquan Smith, and Patrick Queen are your inside/middle linebackers. Quarterbacks, Patrick Surtain, Sauce Gardner, Jalen Ramsey, Denzel Ward. That would be a nasty cornerback lineup. Whew. Free safety, Justin Simmons and Minka Fitzpatrick. Makes that even nastier. And then your strong safety is Kyle Hamilton. Long snapper is Ross Mastick from the Jaguars, and your punter is AJ Cole. Place kicker, Justin Tucker, obviously. Kick returner, Marvin Mims. And your special teamer is Miles Killebrew. That is your AFC lineup. Your NFC lineup is Brock Purdy, Dak Prescott, Matthew Stafford, which is crazy that Stafford made it, but shout out to him. Your running backs are McCaffrey, of course, DeAndre Swift, and then Kyron Williams. Juszczyk, obviously, is your fullback, as we said earlier. Wide receivers are CeeDee Lamb, A.J. Brown, Mike Evans, Puka Nacua. That's a nasty lineup. George Kittle and Sam Laporta are your tight ends. Trent Williams, Lane Johnson, Penei Sewell are your tackles. Zach Martin, Chris Lindstrom, and Landon Dickerson are your guards. Your centers, Jason Kelsey. Shout out to the New Heights podcast. Frank Ragnow is your backup. Your defense is defensive ends, Nick Bosa, Montez Sweat, Aiden Hutchinson. Interior defensive linemen are Aaron Donald, Dexter Lawrence, Javon Hargrave. Outside linebacker, Micah Parsons, Danielle Hunter, Hassan Riddick. Inside middle linebacker, Fred Warner, Bobby Wagner. Quarterback, Deron Bland, Shantavius Ward, Jalen Johnson, and Devon Witherspoon. And Jesse Bates is your free safety. Strong safety, Buda Baker, Julian Love. Long snapper is Andrew DePola. Punter, Brian Anger from the Cowboys. Place kicker, Brandon Aubrey, who they're saying probably deserves, Rookie of the Year honors, which who knows that he would win that. Special teamer is Jalen Reeves-Maybin. Shout out to the boy from UT. I see you, Maybin. Rashid Shaheed's your kick returner. So, obviously, Pro Bowl always gets shit on, but they're changing it up every year, so I'll watch it just because I'm kind of intrigued on what to do if I'm eligible to be watching it. And sometimes it's fucked up. It doesn't let you. So, we'll go back to the NBA from there. And we'll kind of do a quick rundown of what's going on in the NBA. Looks like Ricky Rubio's retiring. Giannis and LeBron lead the way for the All-Star returns, which we could have told you that. Looks like Draymond's coming back to practice. Looks like Ja's been doing really well since coming back to the league. I don't see really any big crazy news. No more big trades or anything like that. Just kind of basic gameplay. The Magic are still looking pretty good. Overall, the standings, league-wide, Celtics, Timberwolves, Bucks, Thunder have your best win percentage. That's your top four. The Heat are in there for top 10. The Pistons did end up winning a game, which I think we discussed on the last one. So they ended their streak at 28 after they took it over. So that's funny. Looks like the Lakers are on the outside looking in again. That may not be good. We do not want to hear that. Got a lot of draft stuff, but we're so far away from the draft, I'm not going to cover it. kind of jump back more into NBA as we get closer to the season. NCAA men's basketball, we're ramping up on the conference play, which I'm very excited for. Um, Nothing major. I know that some stuff came out saying that kind of who they're looking at to take in like the draft. Um, Looks like they've got the kid Zach Edey from Purdue going in like mid rounds, which I feel like he might be a steal if somebody goes in there and sweeps him. They've got 1 and 2 being 2 foreign guys, one from Australia, one from Europe. So I kind of looked at both of them. I mean, one's 6'8", like small forward, power forward type, and the other one I think is a center power forward situation, kind of tall, lanky guys. But at this point, we're kind of, used to that. Tennessee is in the top 5. We're number 5 in the nation on both coaches and AP poll. So keep a lookout for that. Big news coming out of women's, because that's kind of it for the men's. Grambling women post a 141-point victory. It says the Grambling women beat College of Biblical Studies 159-18. It says the Grambling women's basketball team ushered in the new year Tuesday night with a performance unseen in any other year before it. 8 players scored in double figures, and the Lady Tigers rolled to a 159-18 triumph in home game against the College of Biblical Studies that marked the biggest margin of victory in 141 points in Division One women's basketball history. Grambling 6-5, which plays in the SWAC, set a school record for points with Ariana Mosley 27, Kyle Wormsley 20, and Amanda Blake and Demaya Young 15 each leading the way. The Lady Tigers jumped out to a 34-0 lead, not allowing their opponents first points until 2 minutes and 14 mark of the opening quarter. They closed that period with a 12-4 run, then scored the first 12 points of the second quarter en route to an 82-10 lead at the half. Grambling was just as dominant in the second half, allowing 3 points in the third quarter. The College of Biblical Studies lone field goal of the period came with 1:04 to play and 5 in the fourth. The visitors committed 57 turnovers and shot 18.6%, 8 of 43 from the field. The College of Biblical Studies is based in Houston, plays in the Southwest region of Division II National Christian College Athletic Association. The previous record for margin of victory was set in 2018 when Savannah State beat Wesleyan, Georgia, 155-26. That's outrageous, but that's kind of par for the course. The SWAC is trying to play teams that make them look better because they can't play any of the bigger schools, because that's just the way it is. The bigger schools don't want to play them because they'll destroy them. If they do play them, and they're kind of cupcakes, so they have to play their own cupcakes. And the only way to play their cupcakes is to go get these schools from the middle of nowhere. But shout out to the College of Biblical Studies, because they probably got a nice little payday to drive from Houston to wherever Grambling is and play that. So that's interesting. Your women's rankings, South Carolina's number 1, and I don't see it going anywhere else. It does look like there's 4 undefeated teams in the top 6. That's South Carolina, UCLA, North Carolina State, and Baylor. Iowa State is 13-1. I do know Caitlin Clark went off there, said that the Pistons are tanking for Caitlin Clark, which is funny because she'd probably be better than half the guys on the team currently. So there's that. Let's see here. Nothing big in baseball. I don't think we'll hit that real quick, but I don't believe anything big's happened in baseball. I know that Yankees got an outfielder off waivers. Looks like the Jays are very disappointed, and Ohtani chose the Dodgers, which they had more money. They offer more money. It's kind of the way it is. It's what happens. I mean, you can be butthurt now, but it ain't gonna do you no good. It does look like baseball starts back up on the 22nd for your spring stuff, so be prepared for that. I won't cover it because our baseball guy left, so it'll just be me until we find another baseball guy. do know that the XFL and the USFL have officially merged to create the newly formed UFL sets 8 markets tabs coaches. So we'll kind of cover that. It looks like the newly formed United Football League has set its 8 markets and secured head coaches for each team as it continues its march towards a March 2024 debut on the field. The league announced Monday the UFL will remain in the 4 XFL markets, 3 from the USFL, and 1 that now merged leagues shared. The 8 teams, all of which are located in either the Eastern Central time zones, will be split into 2 conferences that are named after the leagues that formed them. 4 XFL coaches and 4 USL coaches were retained. The USFL conference is the Birmingham Stallions, coached by Skip Holtz; the Houston Roughnecks, coached by Curtis Johnson; the Memphis Showboats, coached by John DeFilippo; and Michigan Panthers, coached by Mike Nolan. Your XFL conference is the Arlington Renegades, coached by Bob Stoops; the DC Defenders, coached by Reggie Barlow; the San Antonio Brahmas, coached by Wade Phillips; and the St. Louis Battlehawks, coached by Anthony Becht. Both leagues had teams in Houston in 2023. The UFL kept the XFL team's brand and tapped the USFL team's coach. The UFL players will report to training camp on February 24th in Arlington, where the XFL trained last season. Its teams will play a 10-game regular season starting March 30th with matchups between Birmingham and Arlington, which is your winners from both leagues. The USFL and XFL played separate, partially overlapping schedules in 2023. The leagues announced an intent to merge on September 28th and received approval from the federal regulators November 30th. I feel like I covered this in the last one, but I don't think I did because it's not been out long enough. No, I did not. And so that's kind of a good thing to look forward to. Obviously, not all the play, like you're going to hear, like people like Logan say, the play's not going to be the same, this, that, and the other, but man, who cares? It's football. I like football. I like the way The Rock and Danny Garcia and them are running things. I like the way it's merged. I do think it'll be fun to watch just because it's just a sports, man, and I'm always going to be fun to cover sports, so that's probably where we'll pivot to covering that. I don't think there's any big UFC. There's a UFC fight this weekend. It looks like we've got Johnny Walker fighting I can't say that guy's name in your main event. Ankalaev. No other big fights on here, I don't think. Nobody that I know, anyway. I'm sure that our boy Logie would be able to tell us all of it. Looks like Oklahoma State quarterback Alan Bowman gets 7th year of eligibility. So he gets an extra eligibility. Bowman, who will turn 24 before next season, spent 2018 and 2020 at Texas Tech, 2021, 22 at Michigan, and at this past season at Oklahoma State, where he threw for 3,460 yards, 15 touchdowns, and 40 interceptions. So not that great on the touchdown-interception ratio. He was a starter in 11 games, passing for 300 yards, marking 5 of them, throwing for 402 and 2 touchdowns in the Texas Bowl against Texas A&M. So he gets to come back for another game, or another season, which is crazy, but shout out to him. Looks like St. Brown is mad that he didn't make it to the Pro Bowl. And it did come out saying that a child with a lighter started the Tyreek Hill house fire. In other news around the world, I know that Donald Trump's being taken off and put back on ballots due to...
You'll love this. So much space. Wait till you see the kitchen.
Let's clear that before we get a copyright strike from fucking ESPN for accidentally doing something. Other news from around the world. If you're a Barstool fan, Jersey Jerry streamed for like 36 hours trying to hit a hole-in-one. I watched some of the stream. It was hilarious. He like slept all last night on stream. Man's funny as fuck. We might start doing I might start doing stuff like that. So there was an active shooter today at a high school in Iowa. Hope everyone's okay there. I know that there is a lot of stuff coming out about the Epstein list. The Epstein files released. Everyone's expecting to see names like Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, Tom Hanks, Chrissy Teigen, Jimmy Kimmel, many prominent figures. But the recent drop, that is what they wanted you to think. So when they release the list, we just got to takes credibility from the citizens that are demanding transparency, and to give the people a false win to prevent releasing the official Jeffrey Epstein client list, is what it says here. But there's a lot of people that come off and said that apparently something said that Stephen Hawking liked little girls, and one came out that Bill Clinton got released and said that he likes little girls in the documentary. So it's a lot. I don't know enough about it. I'll have to read up on it and try to figure out what's going on. Jersey Jerry trending is hilarious. Let's see what we got for other big news. Looks like breaking: Prince Andrew reported to police after release of Epstein client list. Mossad blackmail list is what it says here. Obviously, this is just kind of right-wing media. The papers detail claims of Prince Andrew's involvement in a sexual assault on a minor identified as Jane Doe number 3. Illegal submission suspected to pertain to Virginia Giffrey contends that Epstein directed her to fulfill the prince's demands and mandated Jane Doe number 3 to provide him with details about the sexual abuse. Additionally, the allegations suggest that Maxwell played a role in enabling Prince Andrew's acts on the facilities. So who knows? There's a lot. Who knows what's real? Who knows what's fake? Like I said, I'll do some digging and I'll figure out what I can on my own, but that's not really my forte. So hopefully we can find somebody that does have that forte. And honestly, that's probably where I'm going to call it, because I've been going between working and trying to make enough time to do this podcast and trying to do my own life stuff, dealing with sick family members. It's just not been enough time. I'm going to continue doing this. Like I said, I'll continue doing it all the way up until I've done 150 of these, even if no one listens and nobody cares. Stay tuned for more. Follow me on all socials. Follow the podcast studio. Follow everything on all socials. Got some events set up to be booked for the spring. Got some car stuff to be booked for that too. Stay on the lookout, because I might be releasing a car trading video, because I'm looking at trading my Lincoln. So just kind of stay tuned. We got big things coming. Peace.